I first became aware of my ability to communicate with what I call the non-physical world when I was a child. My cousin, Chucky, who was quite a few years older than me at the time, he passed in a car accident when he was 21 years old. And we lived in two different states from each other. And after he passed in this car accident, I felt his presence and felt clearly that he was absolutely present with me and communicating with me. And because I was so young, I thought that this is what happened when people, quote, die. And I thought it was wonderful, actually, because I got to see Chucky more then than I did when he was in a physical body. So that's when I first became aware of this ability. I didn't share it with anybody because I just thought that's what everybody did. I thought that's what happened when people went through this process of dropping their body. So I didn't talk about it. And then when I was about 14, I heard some significant loved ones sharing how people who think that they can talk with the dead or see the dead should actually be locked up in a psych ward. And that gave me pause, so I really didn't share it. And then when I was about 22 years old, my maternal grandmother, she dropped her body, and I had such an incredible visitation from her. And it was just amazing. It was extraordinary. She was just filled with light, filled the room with light. And even though I had had this ability, even I was a little confused, I think because of the nature of the closeness of my relationship with her in the physical form. And I remember asking her, I said, "Grandma, I'm really confused. Are you dead or alive? I don't understand what's happening." And she was just so full of joy, emanating light and smiling. And she said, "Oh," she called me Dee Dee. She said, "Oh, Dee Dee, you will understand one day. You'll understand." And she gave me very clear messages to share with my mom and with my grandfather. And when I did so, I remember both of them just feeling shocked, and my mom started crying, and even my pup-up started to shed a few tears, and they wanted to know how I knew this information that I was offering to them, and like as if it could not have been through my grandmother, and I'm telling you, Grandma visited me. She gave me this information and clearly asked me to share it with you. So that's how it started. And as after my grandmother, then I started actually receiving visitations from people I had never met, but whose family members I knew who were still in physical form, and asked me, actually they didn't even ask, it was more like demanded me to tell their loved ones that they were okay and they were with them and all of that. And I still remembered what I heard when I was 14, and I was too afraid to deliver the messages. And it took me about 7 years to deliver the first message. And after I delivered it, it made such a difference for the person and for their family. And then I felt really guilty that I hadn't, that I had waited for so long. And I made a decision then that I would never hold back a message again. I would ask permission. I would ask people if they were open to receiving a message. And so far, everybody has always been open to it, and it's been life-changing for people.